Hello again, my little conscripts, and welcome to another Mordian Glory video. In today's episode, I want to do a fun little mental exercise. I'm going to take a look at the current guard combat patrol and then throw it in the bin. And instead, what we're going to do is see if we can design not one, not two, but 3 different combat patrols, one for each of the main regiments, and see if we can come up with something that every guard player would want to buy. And that's it. So let's not mess around any further. Let's fix bayonets and charge right into this thing.
Attention guardsmen, the commissariat has detected you have not yet liked this video. Do so immediately or else you will face the Emperor's wrath. And anyone who has not yet subscribed to the channel will be transferred to the penal battalions. That is all. Move out!
So first things first, I want to set out some ground rules / parameters. The combat patrols that I am going to design can't just be like £300 worth of miniatures for 100 quid. They can't just be a ridiculously good deal. They have to still conform and be within a similar saving, a similar discount to the existing guard combat patrol. To this end, each one of our combat patrols is going to contain approximately, give or take a fiver or so, £150 worth of models. This is because the current guard combat patrol consists of 2 squads of Rough Riders, which at time of recording are about £40 each. But to be fair, there is going to be a price increase soon, so maybe there'll be a little bit more. And also we have got each of the Kazakin and the Cadian command squads, which come in at £42.50 and £28 respectively. So if we aim for about £150 to about £160 as our limit, then that should be in line with the current combat patrol and take into account any price increases we expect to see. The other thing that I want to do with these combat patrols is make them extremely appealing to guard players. The idea is I want every guard player to want to buy each one of these boxes, and not only one of them, but I want them to be good for multiple purchases. I want you to be able to buy these combat patrols and not want one, not want two, but want 3 of each of them. So those are going to be my parameters. I need to make sure that we're sticking in line with the current pricing structure and also try and make them as appealing as possible. So all killer, no filler, and make them good for multiple purchases. So that's going to mean no unique characters. We're going to get them all going to be made up of bread and butter units, but also throw some fun things in there as well. So with our parameters set, now let's dive right into this thing. And let us begin with the poster boys, the Cadians. I know some Krieg players are going to argue with that one because they think they're the new poster boys, but I think that the Cadians are the OG poster boys of the guard, so we'll start with those guys first. So for the Cadians, I actually came up with 2 different possible options, and I'd love for you guys to let me know which one you actually would prefer out of these 2. In an ideal world, you know, one of these could be a combat patrol, maybe one of them could be like a Christmas box set, we'll see, or 2 different combat patrols, but this is what I came up with. Cadians are a bit of a tricky one to pin down because you obviously want to have them as a combined arms force, but that means you want to throw as much as you can into the box. So rather than doing that, I created 2 distinctive combat patrols. One of them was going to be slightly more specialized, going for a more mechanized route, and one of them was going to be a more generalized route for the Cadians. So the first route that I went for was the mechanized one. And in this combat patrol, I thought it'd be good to go for a squad of 10 Cadians because you've got to have some Cadians in a Cadian combat patrol. And then we also went for a squad of Kazakin because they are the elite. They are the best of the best. So we've got to have some of those, and they're such an iconic unit for the Cadians. Now, I then wanted to go down a more vehicle route because 20 infantry is plenty for a combat patrol. It's plenty for people to get their hands into. So I went for a Chimera APC, which you could probably put your Kazakin in, or you could put your shock troops in if you want to. And then we needed a character. And I decided to go big or go home. And I said, let's chuck a Leman Russ in there. Let's chuck a Leman Russ in there because a Leman Russ can be a Leman Russ tank commander. So this is going to give us a character and a Chimera, and it's going to give us some Kazakin, and it's going to give us some ship munchers with those standard Cadians as well. Now, I like this box set because it gives you some elite infantry, it gives you some bog standard infantry, but also lets you feel the Guard armor core as well. You're going to have that heavy arm with the Lehman Russ, and you're also going to have that Chimera as well. So you're getting a feel for how dedicated transports work as well. My other idea for the Cadian Combat Patrol was actually really straightforward. Take a platoon of Cadians and chuck a Rogel Dawn in there. So you go for 2 squads of Cadian shock troops, and then you go for a Cadian command squad, and then have a Rogel Dawn. That covers everything. You could buy that one literally 3 times, and it with 3 platoons of Cadians, 3 Rogel Dawns, and I feel like that'd be such a solid start for Guard players. Both of these combat patrols feel very Cadian to me, and they feel like a pretty good start to get you down the road if you're a beginner Guard player. There's nothing in here that's going to lead you astray, and whichever one of these box sets existed, I think Guard players would be pretty happy picking up multiples of them. No one's ever going to say no to multiple squads of Kazakin and Chimeras and Lehman Russes. You never have enough Lehman Russes. And the other one is just so simple. It's really easy to get your head around. Hey, you're a new Guard player. This is what this faction is all about. Loads of infantry, officers, and tanks. Moving on to everyone's favorite gas mask boys, the second combat patrol is going to be for the Krieg. And again here, I kind of started working on 1 and then it morphed into 2 of them. Although, to be honest, both of them are pretty similar. So I decided that, again, I wanted to go down a route of what makes Krieg feel like Krieg. And at the end of the day, that's infantry and artillery. Let's get our World War I in space on. So with that, I went for 2 squads of Death Corps of Krieg and a Death Corps command squad, because that's just a blob of infantry. And then I chucked in a unit of Krieg combat engineers and an artillery team. Now, I really wanted to go for the Krieg heavy weapons squad here and the artillery team, but that would have taken us over our 160 pound kind of like limit that we were going for. If I was going to go for the alternative box set, I would have just thrown in 1 Death Corps squad, 1 command squad, 1 engineer squad, 1 heavy weapons squad, and 1 of the artillery teams. That's basically 1 of every Krieg unit except for the Death Riders. Now, I actually like both of these box sets. On the one hand, if we go for the one which has just got the blob, the engineers, and the artillery team, that's just, again, very solid. You want to get a feel for Krieg? This is what Krieg are all about. Infantry and artillery. But I quite like the other box set as well, because it's almost like a grab bag of Krieg units. You get to try a little bit of everything. You get to try the main Krieg infantry, you get to try how the command squad works. It might not be quite as good, because obviously ideally you'd rather have your command squad leading a full blob of Kriegers. So I feel like one of them, the first one, which is the 2 squads of Kriegers that sort of make the main blob, I feel like that one is better from a gameplay point of view. This is more efficient, this goes together very nicely, but I think the other one is almost better from a beginning your Guard journey point of view, because there's nothing bad in either one of these. It's all killer. There's no filler here. Every unit that we've included is going to be useful, and it just lets you try a little bit of everything, and then as a new player you can decide which kits you prefer and then sort of start focusing on those. Last but certainly not least, we have got the Catachan Jungle Fighters. Catachans are a little bit of a funny one because a lot of their models are quite a bit older, and as a result they're quite a bit cheaper than the Cadians and the Kriegers. For example, the Catachan Jungle Fighter Infantry are £24 for 10, whereas the Kriegers and the Cadians are £31.50, and the Command Squad for the Catachans is £24, whereas the Cadian and Krieg ones are £28. Obviously, if in the future there is going to be some kind of Catachan range refresh, which everyone seems to assume is going to happen, then that would affect my thoughts on how I'd put this combat patrol together. But as we don't know that is the case, and Games Workshop is just as likely to get rid of the Catachans as they are to update them, we're just going to operate with the information that we have to hand right now at the time of recording. To that end, Once again, I couldn't make my mind up, so I ended up designing 2 different combat patrols. So the first combat patrol that I made for the Catachans was inspired by an old picture in the 4th edition, it might have been 3rd edition, but 4th edition Guard Codex, and you had a platoon of Catachans on patrol. And so keeping that as inspiration, I went for 2 squads of Catachan jungle fighters and a command squad for them. Then I went for a heavy weapon squad, a Catachan heavy weapon squad, and 2 sentinels. This very much feels like a platoon of Catachans that are on some kind of extended deep recon. And so they're traveling light, but they've got those sentinels with them to provide some mobile fire support if they need it. However, sneaky recon isn't the only thing that Catachans like to do. They also love melee combat and burny flamers. So for my second pass at the hypothetical Catachan combat patrol, I went for 2 squads of Cadians and a platoon command squad, just keeping that infantry core. And then also I went for a box of Ogrins / Balgrins, because it's the same box set, and then a Hellhound. So I know I said I would come up with 3 different combat patrols, 1 for each regiment, but I ended up just getting carried away with the whole thing, and it was just a lot of fun trying to design these combat patrols in a way that I thought people would positively respond to. One thing that I kept as a running theme through pretty much every one of them was to have this idea of the platoon, to have this idea of the infantry corps, because every day in the corps is like a day on the farm, every meal a banquet, every paycheck a fortune, every formation a parade. I love the corps. But on a serious note, I think having this infantry platoon at the heart of each combat patrol, not only does it kind of give you the vibe of this faction. Look, you're going to be operating lots of infantry. You want to be getting this feeling of like the platoon. You want to get this feeling of the guard. So not only does it sort of pass that vibe check, but also sets guard players with a really solid foundation. It puts their best foot forward as they enter this faction, because you always need more infantry. It's something that I found as a guard commander over 20 years of playing this faction is you always need more infantry, even if you are a mechanized player, even if you are someone that prefers a more hybrid approach. We're not even talking pure infantry. You just always are going to need that solid infantry core. It's your foundation. It's what your army is based on. And whether they're mounted up in chimeras, or whether they are foot slogging across the board, or whether you've just got a few of them holding objectives whilst your tanks roll forward and crush everything, you're still always going to need that solid core of infantry. So it kind of passes that vibe check. It gives us a good foundation, and most importantly, it allows us to actually save money on our infantry, because one of the reasons why a lot of guard players kind of shy away from the infantry is because it's quite expensive to get the infantry corps together. Now, guard players aren't afraid of building infantry, but when you can get a tank for near as damn at the same price as a squad of infantry, you're going to go for that tank. It's going to be more points intensive, and it's going to get you closer to that 2,000 points, so you can start feeling like you can play your games. But you need your infantry. So by having not an infantry focus in the combat patrols, but by having an infantry foundation, you're saving money, which is making this almost barrier to entry a lot lower. And so guard players could go out there, if they could go for almost any one of these 6 hypothetical combat patrols that we've come up with, and they're going to be getting plenty of infantry. And then all they need, if they bought, we said we want them to buy 3 of them, right? So if they went and bought 3 of the Cadian ones, let's say it's the ones which have got, well, either one of those, they're coming out with 60 infantry and some tanks. All they'd need to do at that point is season with a bit of artillery. If you go for the Krieg ones, you're going to come out with plenty of infantry, especially if you go for the one that's like the platoon and like the artillery piece and stuff. You're definitely going to be coming out with plenty of infantry there. All you need at that point is to season with some tanks. Maybe you decide to get some of the hypothetical Cadian combat patrols we've come up with. Do you know what I mean? And with the Catachan ones, you have got plenty of infantry. You've also got some indirect fire if you go for mortars on those heavy weapon teams, and you've got some light armor in there with the sentinels. And so all you need to really season there is with a little bit of heavy armor. So each one of these combat patrols is pretty complementary. You're going to be getting the infantry that you need, and whether you just get 3 of your chosen regiments combat patrol and then season with some specialists, or you end up just going for each one of these combat patrols, how I see them is they all support each other, they're all interlocked, and however you look at it, you're starting guard players on the right path. Well, at least that's what I think. But of course, all of this is just like my opinion, man. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Let me know your ideas for Combat Patrol as well. These are just the ones that I came up with, and I really enjoyed this mental exercise. So if you've got an idea for a Combat Patrol, whether it be for the Guard or whether it be for any faction, let me know down below. And if this video pops off and does really well, and you want me to run this exercise for maybe some other factions as well, then let me know and I can take a look. But if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to go ahead and smash that like button and also subscribe to never miss an episode. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing. Truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full time without the incredible and generous support of my members. So thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Redfield, 32, Jurgens, Miasma, Try Again, Bragg, RJ, Scorpion, Bonbon Vert, Lord Pryor, Nicholas Walsh, John Stubbs, Guardian, Varney, Sword, Fish Trombone, Picklock the Forged. Seriously guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video, and of course, as always, see you guys next time.